Now, 4 of the cars of that train were carrying a chemical called vinyl chloride. It's a very dangerous chemical if ingested or breathed in. Officials tell us the vinyl chloride is not on fire. Again, it's not on fire. One of the cars is slowly leaking pressure, which is what it is supposed to do to prevent an explosion. But as we've been telling you through previous coverage, the situation is still unstable. First News reporter Desiree Goslin spoke with a hazardous materials specialist who was a battalion chief with Youngstown Fire for 39 years.
Vinyl chloride is what you use to make PVC pipe. You know, your plumbing pipe is you use it to make the casings that go on the outside of electrical wires. Has a wide variety of usages.
Sil Caggiano has spent close to 4 decades working as a hazardous materials specialist and tells me being exposed to vinyl chloride can be extremely dangerous, and so are the byproduct chemicals it gives off if it were to burn.
Vinyl chloride in and of itself is cancerous. Some of the other stuff is just as bad. The hydrogen chloride is bad enough that when you inhale it, it mixes with the water in your lungs and you could have acid burns in your lungs.
He says anyone with pre-existing lung or breathing problems is more at risk.
If you have asthma, emphysema, COPD, stay in. Keep your evacuation distances, stay in, don't go outside, because this stuff will affect you a lot quicker.
Caggiano suggests if the vinyl chloride does catch fire, to get farther away from the site of the train if you can, and stay sheltered inside away from the chemicals.
They could kill you because of the damage they could do to your respiratory system, because most of the damage with this is going to be inhalatory. So, this is some bad stuff.
Desiree Goslin, WKBN 27 First News.
Again, we want to remind you that officials have told us the vinyl chloride is not on fire. This story is just to warn you in case that situation does change.
And how I wanted to use what I had learned medically. So I went from being this aspiring cardiovascular surgeon to a family practitioner in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, a semi-rural factory town in the early 1970s. I had long hair and a big fat beard, right? And some desire to use my medical skills to take care of workers and farmers in that setting. I wanted to somehow become a part of the political and social life of that community. And that's where I first saw Dr. Selikoff's picture in 1974. And Phil was just talking about the work that Sinai was beginning to do about vinyl chloride monomer. Because in this town, there was a PVC polymerization plant where the monomer was hooked up into the PVC plastic. And by the time Selikoff and Dr. Ruth Lillis, whom some of you I'm sure remember well, had come to this town, right? I already had a practice that was very large because I didn't charge very much money, and I wasn't able to attend this meeting that Dr. Selikoff had, really to talk with the workers in that union local, it was a rubber workers local, about how to protect themselves from exposure to vinyl chloride.
FEMA is now sending a team to East Palestine, Ohio, and this comes more than 2 weeks after the train derailment threatened the small town. Governor Mike DeWine came under criticism for not requesting federal aid sooner, and then his office criticized FEMA over allegations FEMA was not stepping up to help. Meantime, there are new reports that former President Trump will be visiting East Palestine on Wednesday. Trump is expected to meet with community members. And now word that Aaron Brockovich will also be in East Palestine for a town hall meeting. News Nation was the first network to speak with her after the disaster.
When the situation in the train derailment's been going on for over a week, anytime there's an environmental disaster, the community will come to me. They've already come to me from the community, and I have just been struggling because from a legal perspective, what is happening out there to even get somebody out there to find out what's going on, and then watching this with the reporter getting arrested. Now I'm really thinking, what the hell's happening out there? I think the most important thing these community members can do, and they're reaching out to me, and they're afraid, and they're worried. They're making the observations of the fish kills. I need them to start protecting themselves. I don't think we're going to get a direct answer right now about the dangers or from the EPA or even the laws going to understand what's happening out there. I need this community to act for themselves. If you feel unsafe, then please get out of harm's way. If you feel unsafe, stay sheltered in place. If you're questioning that it's all clear and you think it isn't, listen to that voice. Document what's happening to your own health. Document or videotape the fish that are dying, or as you move about in your community. I think it will be critical. You will have to protect and defend yourself at this moment because I don't think all the answers are there. They will be, but they're not. So for in the moment, please use your own instincts. Keep yourself safe. Ask questions. If you're uncertain, get to safety. And if you see something, say something and document it.
Have you been able to get a lawyer to get out there on the ground?
I haven't been able to get, at this point in time, any law firms that I've reached out to, it's a pass.
Why is that?
You know what? I don't know why. It could be a whole host of reasons. My guess would be because there's no affirmative answer yet as to, we know it's vinyl chloride, what the levels are. The EPA is saying everything is safe, so they may just be following the safe thing to do until we know. No, I never trust that. After 30 years of what I've been through and what this community's going through, they know. Come on, it's vinyl chloride. It's in the air. The fish are dying. Really? Does that give you comfort that maybe I should be in this area? Probably not.
The CDC changed toxicity info on vinyl chloride days before derailment. The CDC edited the toxicology profile for vinyl chloride, massively increasing the lethal exposure level and removing information about how the chemical affects children just 2 weeks before the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio.
News Nation has been in contact with, has rashes on her body after showering. Let's get to News Nation's Rich McHugh live on the ground in East Palestine, in which you spoke with a couple who's already having some negative health effects.
Hey, good evening, Natasha. That's right. So the first news is that the CEO of Norfolk Southern was here today, finally after 2 weeks, showed up, met with officials in this church behind me, closed-door meetings, was escorted in and out by police, but was overheard telling someone he is here in support. The people we're speaking to don't buy it. For instance, they say that the health threat is real here, real time. One couple we spoke to went back to their house. We'd interviewed them earlier in the week. They went back to their house today for 30 minutes and had some crazy health effects. Take a look.
So we were in the kennel this morning picking up some supplies. We left. I went home I went back to the place where we were being evacuated.
Caitlin Schwartzwelder and her boyfriend Chris, after being evacuated, came back home today. But she says she broke out in a rash almost instantly.
I undressed to get into the shower, and I had a rash all over the side of my face, on both sides, and all over my chest.
Take a look at these photos of her this morning after coming back on her property. The rash all over her face, neck, and chest.
My boyfriend Chris also had a rash down his left side, and I mean, to this moment, right now, I have just a really low-grade, constant headache.
They live nearly a mile from the derailment and where Norfolk Southern released the toxins into the air 2 weeks ago. But their issues clearly persist. But with FENA finally coming and with all the focus directed at East Palestine, these folks say they're forgotten because they live just over the state line in Pennsylvania.
It feels like nobody gives a damn beyond us.
They too were forced to evacuate.
And what if we couldn't afford to do any of this?
My wife is 37 weeks pregnant this Friday, and she's going to be induced. And it's all a little scary.
What is vinyl chloride? Vinyl chloride monomer is a manufactured chemical produced in the United States since the 1930s. Nearly all of the vinyl chloride produced in the United States is used in making polyvinyl chloride, PVC, and other plastic products. To make PVC, ethylene and chlorine are combined to make the chemical ethylene dichloride, which is then converted into vinyl chloride monomers that polymerize to form PVC. Where is vinyl chloride found? Vinyl chloride is found in the air as an emission product released by plastic and PVC manufacturers, and is also a component of cigarette smoke. Since vinyl chloride is a component of PVC pipes used in drinking water systems throughout the United States, small amounts can leak out of the pipes and into the water supply. Since the United States Food Drug Administration, the FDA, limits the amount of PVC used in food packaging, food does not contain a significant amount of vinyl chloride. Vinyl chloride can enter the body through inhalation or swallowing. Short-term exposure to vinyl chloride results in headaches, nose and throat irritation, shortness of breath, dizziness, coughing, and eye irritation. Inhalation of high concentrations of vinyl chloride can initially cause a pleasant taste in the mouth and euphoria, followed by drowsiness. Repeat exposures can lead to headaches, irritability, numbness, and tingling in the extremities, and memory changes. Chronic exposure to vinyl chloride is associated with an increased risk of developing liver disease, including cancer. What is vinyl chloride disease? Vinyl chloride disease is a short term used to describe symptoms that develop in people with chronic exposure to vinyl chloride, typically in a workplace setting and after years of vinyl chloride exposure. Signs and symptoms of vinyl chloride disease include hardened or coarse skin, fingertip shortening, and bone abnormalities. A cold sensation in the fingers and hands, and blanching of the fingertips. The question is, does vinyl chloride cause cancer? Vinyl chloride monomer exposure is associated with the development of a rare type of liver cancer called hepatic angiosarcoma. The relationship between vinyl chloride and hepatic angiosarcoma was first identified in 1974 in 3 men involved in PVC manufacturing while working at a B.F. Goodrich plant in Kentucky. After additional cases of hepatic angiosarcoma were reported in other individuals who worked with vinyl chloride, the United States Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, set limits for workplace vinyl chloride exposures, and vinyl chloride was also banned from use in consumer products such as household paints and air fresheners. What are the other health effects of vinyl chloride? After vinyl chloride is inhaled, it is broken down by the liver into potentially toxic byproducts that can cause DNA damage. In animal studies, vinyl chloride exposure is associated with DNA damage and gene mutations. In addition to increasing the risk of developing hepatic angiosarcoma, vinyl chloride exposure is also linked to an increased risk of developing liver cirrhosis and hepatic cellular carcinoma. Some studies have also suggested an association between vinyl chloride and other cancers, including leukemia and brain cancer.
This is polyvinyl chloride, a synthetic resinous material converted from vinyl chloride gas. And it's the basis for thousands of plastic products, from food wrappers to phonograph records. In its final marketable form, it's as safe as any ordinary household item. But during the manufacturing process, when the gas is being synthesized and the resin is being formed, exposure can present a serious risk, causing a relatively rare form of cancer called angiosarcoma that attacks the liver, and unfortunately it's invariably fatal, or at least to the present. Information that vinyl chloride could cause cancer in animals was known as early as 1970, but it was not until the actual deaths of workers were reported that industry began to heed the signals.
This is the Panasilk Company of New York, their New Jersey plant in the heart of the chemical belt. They are processing vinyl chloride, proven to be a cancer-producing killer, and they're reducing the risks by using a carefully controlled system. Gas detecting sensors spotted at key worker stations throughout the plant are tied to a central control bank. If the gas levels exceed the safety threshold, warning lights alert the workers in the hot area.
Polyvinyl materials comes from very simple beginnings: salt, water, limestone, and coke. In the manufacturing process, salt and water plus electricity produce hydrogen and chlorine gases, which combine to form hydrogen chloride. Coke and limestone are combined to form acetylene. These two gases are then combined in turn, heated, compressed, and cooled, and thus converted to liquid form. The result, vinyl chloride. A single drop contains literally billions of molecules in a seething, chaotic world of their own. The addition of a catalyst to vinyl chloride works a startling change. The catalyst, like a top sergeant who never joins the rookie ranks, still gets plenty of action.
All right, you guys, fall in on the double. Mash it up.
The effect of the catalyst makes these molecules grow and hook together in long, strong chains. This bonding reaction is known as polymerization. It gives rubber and plastics their resilience and toughness, their ability to stretch and return. In this case, the process of polymerization results in the material polyvinyl chloride. This material is plenty tough, but of no practical use until a plasticizer is added. The plasticizer's softening influence makes these tough little characters pliable and workable. Thus was created a new material known as Geon, from which Corosil products are made. A material which brought into being new plants, new jobs, and a vast array of new products which contribute to the safety, comfort, and the beauty of our daily lives.
There's a toxic material in the Ohio train derailment that you need to know about. It's called vinyl chloride. 5 of the cars that derailed in East Palestine were carrying the chemical compound, which is a hazardous material used to make plastic. 3 days after the accident, responders did a controlled burn of the cars carrying the substance out of fear they would explode. But even that was risky. When vinyl chloride burns, it can create phosgene and hydrogen chloride. And according to the CDC, phosgene is a major industrial chemical that was used extensively in World War I as a choking agent. The CDC said that among the chemicals used in the war, phosgene was responsible for the large majority of deaths. And it's not just the gases that are concerning. Vinyl chloride is a known human carcinogen that's been linked to an increased risk of a rare and exceptionally deadly form of liver cancer, known as hepatic angiosarcoma. The substance is also linked to brain and lung cancers, lymphoma, and leukemia. So far, it hasn't been detected in homes in East Palestine, but monitoring is ongoing.
I am currently in Negley, Ohio. I'm at the corner of By Road and US 170 North. This is the bridge that goes over top of Leslie Run. This is their filter barrier that they have currently. But I think it's important for people to see the dead fish. I'm gonna walk under the bridge here above and show you. Coming right up, another fish. There's hundreds of them up here in this area across here, hundreds. Another fish. Another fish. They're just everywhere. Fish, fish, fish. I mean, these are minnows. I mean, they are in our streams.
Hey guys, so I'm here at Leslie Run, and there's dead worms and dead fish all throughout this water. So, something I just discovered is that if you scrape the creek bed, it's like chemical is coming out of the ground. Can you come here? And let me just show this to people. I don't know if you're going to see this in the camera, but watch this. Just see that chemical pop out of the creek. This is disgusting. And the fact that we have not cleaned up the train crash, the fact that these chemicals are still seeping in the ground is an insult to the people who live in East Palestine. Do not forget these people. We've got to keep applying pressure. That's how we're going to fix this problem. Thank you.
This was formed in the 70s when hemangiosarcoma was discovered in a small cohort of vinyl chloride workers in Roberttown. So, and that brings me to vinyl chloride, which is what I'm mostly interested in. The vinyl chloride monomer is produced in about 27 million tons annually, so a huge amount, mostly for PVC production. And it is number 4 on the CDC hazardous substance priority list. Historically associated was vinyl chloride with hemangiosarcoma, but also hepatocellular carcinoma and fibrosis.
That I want to present. A 67-year-old male came in with epigastric pain, weight loss, and he had a palpable liver mass. And so this individual worked in polyvinyl chloride production for B.F. Goodrich here in Louisville as a poly scrubber from approximately 1964 to 1969. And he cleaned about 5 reactor vessels per day. And so what they did in their process is they put vinyl chloride gas into a tank, it polymerized into PVC plastic, and they tapped that, drained that out of the bottom. But over time, the tank would fill up with hard plastic, and they couldn't use it anymore because it was full. And so they sent these guys in with basically ice chippers, like you scrape ice from your car. And while they were in there, there was no ventilation. And what happened is that PVC is non-toxic. We use it every day, it's in this computer, but the vinyl chloride monomeric gas is. And so the gas would be trapped in between the layers of the plastic, just like layers on an onion, and they would breathe that in. So another recurring theme in hepatotoxicity for us anyway is that this individual had normal liver biochemistries. So his ALT was 17, AST was 16, and his total bilirubin was normal. And so that's amazing to me because he has a huge burden of disease on his CAT scan. So he had a 20-centimeter hypervascular liver mass illustrated here, and biopsies reveal hemangiosarcoma. So this is a malignant tumor of blood vessels, believed probably to be sinusoidal endothelial cells. And so you can kind of see this tumor is trying to grow little blood vessels. Here's one. And so anyway, I tried to treat this guy and unfortunately failed miserable. And this is consistent with our experience. So here's his tumor when it started. He underwent transarterial chemoembolization, or TACE. I treated him with systemic chemotherapy, sorafenib, and you can see how much I helped him. Now the tumor is over here too, and so the only liver that he has left is this little sliver here. And so he died 6 months later, and when he died, his liver biochemistries were totally normal. All right, so what about vinyl chloride? So we've now had 26 cases out of this one plant. So the worldwide incidence of this tumor is about 30 cases per year. So we've now had 30 in Louisville from one chemical plant, BF Goodrich, and so they also had operations in Calvert City, Kentucky, and Avon Lake in Ohio.
If vinyl chloride gas contacts your skin, tiny amounts may pass through the skin and enter your body. Vinyl chloride is more likely to enter your body when you breathe air or drink water containing it. This could occur near certain factories or hazardous waste sites or in the workplace. At low levels, 20 parts per million, most of the vinyl chloride that you breathe or swallow enter your body rapidly, then travels throughout your body. When some portion of it reaches your liver changes it into several substances. Most of these new substances also travel in your blood. Once they reach your kidneys, they leave your body through your urine. Most of the vinyl chloride is gone from your body a day after you breathe or swallow it. The liver, however, makes some new substances, as I said earlier, that do not leave your body as rapidly. A few of these new substances are more harmful than vinyl chloride itself because they react with chemicals inside your body and interfere with the way your body normally uses or responds to these chemicals. Some of these substances react in the liver, and depending on how much vinyl chloride you breathe in, may produce damage there. Your body needs more time to get rid of these changed chemicals, but eventually remove them as well. If you breathe or swallow vinyl chloride, then your liver can chemically change. Scientists use many tests to protect the public from harmful effects of toxic chemicals to find ways to treat people who have been harmed. One way to learn whether a chemical will harm people is to determine how the body absorbs, uses, and releases the chemical. For some chemicals, animal testing may be necessary. Animal testing may help identify health effects, such as cancer or birth defects. Without laboratory animals, scientists will lose a basic method for getting information needed to make wise decisions that protect public health.